Welcome. I can't get that. Welcome to our online worship service for the First Unitarian Society of Ithaca, a community that creates connection, finds inspiration, and engages the world. We are glad you've carved out time to be together with us this morning. What a cool June morning. Did you turn your heat on when we had the air conditioning blazing earlier this week? We would like to extend a particular welcome to anyone who's joining us for the first time, perhaps from another UU congregation, or checking us out this morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, but we are certain we need one another. Please be sure to check your email, our Facebook page, and our website for more information about how to create connections amidst this experience of physical distancing we are having. This coming Wednesday at 5 p.m. is our annual meeting. We need all of our members to show up so that we have a quorum and vote on our new slate of board leadership and our congregational life budget. We have Zoom meetings set up for many of our small groups, ministry teams, and newcomer meetings. Speaking of small group ministry, Reverend Margaret is going to say a few words about small group.
Corey Rose is going to share some of her experience about small group ministry.
Good morning, everyone. I couldn't help but bring my enthusiasm for the experience I'm having in small group when Reverend Margaret asked for a volunteer to share. I was blessed to be a part of small group ministry from first joining Fuse It, but in these last few months when the challenge that we've all been facing, to have a circle of connection where the focus is just this deep listening of one another. Personally, what that's meant for me, firstly, to listen to other people, to really tune into our shared humanity, to have that way that safety and communion holds us in discovery of what we're even feeling. Very often, I will say, or I'll hear other people say, I'm not even sure what I'm going to check in about. But in that circle of safety and care, I find myself really naming what matters most to me, what I need in terms of emotional support, and that process of self-discovery personally and in being there for others, just in the way that we listen, has been invaluable. It's a time where connection has been so challenging. And yet here is a way to feel that we're discovering a new essence about connection. It's like it's almost more precious now. What else did I want to share? I think it's, I've heard people say that it's just one of the treasures of this UU experience because it's connected to other people contemplating the same questions in the Soul Matters packet and sharing their spiritual journeys with each other. We know that there's other opportunities for people to join at this time, and they'll be continuing through into the fall. And just really wanted to say, encourage people that if you're feeling the need for grounding, more self-connection, and especially to feel that beautiful joy of connection with others, this form of ministry is just so rich. So I'm extremely grateful for it and for all the ministry team here. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Corey Rose. So we, as Corey Rose mentioned, we do have some opportunities for you to join a small group. We have some new groups that are forming. We have some groups that have been meeting who are looking for new folks to join their groups. And we wanted to share with you a picture of some of our small group leaders who are currently leading small groups. You probably recognize some of these faces, and there are others who weren't able to be at that particular meeting. But I welcome you to consider the ways that joining a small group and being part of weekly or biweekly or monthly check-ins during this time might be a healing opportunity for you and an opportunity for you to grow in your sense of community during a time when we really sorely need it. So if you are interested in joining a small group, please contact Vivi or myself via email, and we can get you connected with a group right away. So we are in a time of transition here at FUSIT, at First Unitarian. Today, amidst all of the uncertainty and difficulty of the collective experiences we're having during this pandemic, we are also preparing to say farewell. Two of our beloved staff people are moving on. Now, 2 years ago, when we were in need of leadership for our religious exploration program, Suzanne Quagliata stepped up into the void to offer her skills and her energy. She made that transition from member of FUSIT and RE volunteer to acting DRE, a transition that has been both challenging and powerful for her and her family. And in those 2 years as our acting DRE, Suzanne has worked diligently to build a foundation for a program based on our values and striving toward living into our mission. In her time as our acting DRE, Suzanne has helped us to welcome new families, to celebrate milestones, to practice rituals, to have hard conversations, to train for and offer new programming, to collaborate with our faith neighbors, to expand our offerings for youth, to be a presence of love and support for people of all ages. With Suzanne on our staff team, we have enjoyed laughter and engaged in difficult and important conversations about who we are as UUs and what our call is in this world. And I know that I speak on behalf of all of us at FUSIT when I say a heartfelt thank you to Suzanne for her leadership, her passion, her joyful presence during these past few years. And I also want to take this moment to acknowledge that today is a threshold moment. This month, Suzanne will be making the transition from being part of our staff team back to being a member of the congregation. And she has assured us that she is not going anywhere. You will still see her around. And I know that all of us will all work our hardest to help support her as she finds her way forward at FUSIT in other areas. Suzanne, we are so lucky to have you as part of our FUSIT family. And I am so grateful for you and your service to our children and our youth and our families. Thank you. Thank you. The other person that we are celebrating today is actually not here with us. Now that he's able and the artisans are allowed at the farmer's market, Sandy is there selling his handmade jewelry. So he wasn't able to be in our service today. But Sandy has served as the sexton at FUSIT since 1987. In those 33 years, he has worked with 8 ministers and countless other staff and has seen some of you born into this family and many others leave because of circumstance or death. Sandy has a wealth of information and has a story about pretty much anything in the building and grounds. And I know this because I recorded him telling them in every room of the church so that we have as much information as possible for whoever takes his place. I'm so grateful to Sandy for his steady and kind presence, his humoring of me when I ask to do things like using streamers in the sanctuary or starting an annual communion of cornbread and cider complete with super crumbly cornbread muffins on our velvet pew cushions. He is an immensely patient person. He is compassionate, a steadfast member of our staff team, and I know that I speak on behalf of all of us when I say that we will miss him dearly. Now that he's retiring, Sandy will be spending more time at the farmer's market, selling his handmade jewelry and pushing his cats around in strollers around town. And I'm making a call to everyone watching here. I'm sort of hoping that he's not watching from the farmer's market, but I think there's probably a slim chance that he is. We are celebrating Sandy this coming Tuesday. So this Tuesday, we're having one final staff meeting of our year. We're going to be social distanced at Stewart Park, and we want you to drive by and celebrate Sandy. So make a sign or bring your bells or take out your bubble wand. Madonna Stallman, I'm looking at you with the bubbles. And come to thank Sandy for loving this congregation and its buildings for so many years. It's Tuesday from 11:30 to 1 at Stewart Park by the small pavilion. We'll be the awesome crew of people in a circle. Come and thank and congratulate this legend that is retiring. The final thank you that I want to give for this year, and I wish that I could thank all of our volunteers, all of the people who have made this congregational year so amazing. There will be more opportunities to thank folks at the annual meeting, but as this is our last service of the regular church year, which normally would be at Stewart Park, I want to give a shout out to our tech team, which has basically been Sue. My wife, Susan Weiss, has been the anchor of our tech team as we've made this transition during the pandemic from services in the sanctuary to services being run out of first our dining room and then our home office. But it has been quite a feat to have these services be streamed. As you've noticed this morning, we're not streaming on YouTube because it decided not to work today. So it has just been a constant exercise in patience and gratitude for Sue and her love of this ministry and all of you. So thank you to Sue. And I also will just say that we will be passing the baton for the summer to our summer tech team, which consists of Jack Zinda and Karsten Hess and Tim Ball. And there's a whole team of folks that are putting together summer services. So I encourage you to continue to tune in. That is all, well, not all from me. I have more to say later in the service, but in terms of announcements, that's what I need to say today. Just a heartfelt thank you to Suzanne and to Sandy for being such important parts of our staff team, and gratitude to all of you as a congregation for the ways that you have helped them to feel loved and will continue to help them to feel loved. So that's all from me, and we'll go back to Sue for the finishing of announcements.
Let's take a moment and each of you say out loud or silently to yourself the name of someone you are grateful for this week. I am grateful for Jack, who makes me laugh when I need it most. Who are you grateful for?
Our opening words this morning are by Reverend Gretchen Haley. Give up the fight for some other moment, some other life than here and now. Give up the longing for some other world, the wishing for other choices to make, other songs to sing, other bodies, other ages, other countries, other states. Purge the past. Forgive the future, for each come too soon. Surrender only to this life, this day, this hour, not because it does not constantly break your heart, but because it also beckons with beauty, startles with delight, if only we keep waking up. This is the gift we have been given. These body clothes, this heartbreak, this pulse, this breath, this light, these friends, this hope. Here we remember ourselves, all a part of it all, giving thanks together. Excuse me. Whoever you are, whoever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Here, you belong. The flaming chalice is the symbol of mystics and heretics, artists and activists, reformers and refugees, and Unitarian Universalists everywhere. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. Let's sing together. Our opening hymn is number 1017, Building a New Way.
Hi, friends. Before I say what I was going to say, I want to say thank you so much. I wish I had gone first because I've already been crying, but I want to say thank you so much to Reverend Margaret for the last 2 years. This has been amazing. And it's coming back. I want to say thank you to Sue Weiss for making me laugh before every online service, so it felt real and authentic to me. And I want to thank this amazing staff that I love so much and that we've had the best time, and I just love them so much. And the community, you're why I did this. I love you. And okay, I'm going to say what I was going to say now. Okay. This is my last time for Wonder as your director of religious exploration. I'll still be a member of this church that I know and love, and I'm going to cry through the whole thing, I think. I'm so looking forward to continuing to watch you grow in this community. So today's not an ending, it's a beginning. We're all beginning new adventures. I'm beginning my time as your fellow community member. And maybe this summer you might go camping. Maybe in the fall you're gonna start a new school. And to our high school graduates, Lillian, Emma, Chip, and Noah, you're starting to write your next chapter. I know I've shared a lot of favorite things in my time, but I just have a lot of things that I love. And one of my favorite things that we do in church is blessings. I think it's a really great way to say how we feel for other people. So as we wrap up this church year, I offer this blessing to you. Friends, I bless you today. May your mind be on fire with wonder and wisdom. May your heart be aflame with love for this life. May your hands be ignited with purpose. And may your spirit be aglow with courage and compassion. Friends, you are a light unto this world, and you carry our love with you wherever you may go. We bless you. We love you. May your life unfold with joy.
Thank you, Suzanne. You made it through. As Reverend Margaret mentioned, this is our last regular service of the church year. Summer celebrations start next week, and summer celebrations do not have a joys and sorrows component in the regular service as we do during the regular church year. But you can share your joys and sorrows in the Zoom coffee hour after each of the summer services. So keep that in mind. In a spirit of reverence, love, and care, we take time now to bear witness to some of the joys and sorrows of our community. We want to share those events that call for our prayers and support, our praise and celebration. We have quite a few. Let's start with a joy. Luke and Gabe Ryan O'Connor turned 10 on the 10th. Happy birthday. Here's one from Reverend Margaret. She's having surgery on Friday to remove her tonsils after recurring strep. And she would appreciate people keeping me in their prayers. Our thoughts are with FUSIT member Karina Hagelin, who is currently undergoing chemo for their lupus and recently received diagnosis of Derkham's and Addison's disease. Karina welcomes cards and words of encouragement. Her address is available on Breeze. This from Brian Heltzley. My wife, Ann Hoffman, had a bicycling accident Monday and was airlifted to Guthrie and Sayre for treatment of head and rib injuries. She is progressing well, but faces a substantial rehab. I have family, Brian says, and local friend support measuring in the dozens of people, so it's under control as much as it can be. She may move to an inpatient traumatic brain injury rehab center soon. Location not yet decided. So no cards or flowers, please, as they would not reach her before she moves. Emails to me, Brian Helsley, are fine. For those we are holding in our thoughts, in our hearts, and perhaps in our prayers, let us call out these names out loud into this community, into this space of healing and hope right now. We extend loving kindness to all in our world, and let us not forget to extend loving kindness to ourselves. Today, tomorrow, and beyond, let our hands be outstretched in kindness, and let us keep showing up to our lives and each other with an open heart, no matter what. Love and courage to us all. Amen.
I invite you to join with me in some continued moments of contemplation and meditation and prayer, holding in our hearts all that has been shared this morning, and also all that is happening in our country and our world. Holding in our hearts all those who continue to be oppressed, to be harmed, holding all those whose healthcare and safety are at risk with new laws that have been passed and repealed by the current administration. Special love going out to our friends and family and neighbors who are people of color, who are trans people of color, to all those who are on the margins, and recommitting ourselves to our promise to ensure their safety and to remind them of their worth and our gratitude for them in our lives. I offer these words by my colleague, Reverend Teresa Soto. This is a poem called "To the People Who Have Mistaken Freedom for Liberation." To be free, you must embrace the breath of your own existence without apology, even if they try to take it from you. You must know not that you can do whatever you want. You are not a kudzu vine eating entire hillsides for the purpose of feeding your own lush life. You must know instead that inside you are an entire universe, milky blue, magenta, and gold, expanding. But to actually be free, you must know and you must fight for the entire universes inside of everyone else. Being free is not a license, but a promise. So may it be. Amen. And blessed be. Each week, we take an offering to sustain the important ministries and programs of this congregation and its presence in Ithaca. Today, we will be accepting your gifts in a variety of ways, via text, on our website, by placing payment in the mail. We are committed to being a church in this crisis, to being a community of love and of justice, and we need your support. This includes payment to our staff who are working hard during this pandemic to continue our inspiring ministry to all of you. May these gifts support connection, inspiration, and engagement for this congregation and the ways it ministers to the world. This morning's offering will now be gratefully given and received. Our reading this morning are words by Reverend Kate Walker. This is a reading that I've used before. In fact, I used this reading in my pre-candidating sermon when I was applying to be your minister. It's one that I go back to quite often, and I think speaks to our current moment. In Between by Reverend Kate Walker. In between, liminal, that space where we wait, between moments, events, results, action, no action. To stand on the threshold, waiting for something to end and something new to arrive, to pause in the rumble of time. Awareness claims us, alert, a shadow of something different. In between invitation and acceptance, in between symptom and diagnosis, in between send and receipt of inquiry and question, in between love given and love received. Liminality, a letting go, entering into confusion, ambiguity, and disorientation. A ritual begun, pause, look back at what once was, look forward into what becomes. Identity sheds a layer, reaches into something uncomfortable to wear. In between lighting of the match and the kindling of oil. In between choosing of text and reading the words. In between voices and notes carried through the air into ears to hear. In between creation, thrusts ever forward. Social hierarchies may disassemble and structures may fall. Communities may revolt or tempt trust. Tradition may falter or creativity crashes forward. Leaders may step down or take charge. The people may choose or refuse. In between, storm predicted, the horizon beacons. In between, theology of process reminds us to step back. In between, where minutia and galaxies intermingle with microbes and mysteries. In between, liminal, that space where we wait. Look, listen, feel, breathe. We are in what I am choosing to call a threshold moment. We're always in a threshold moment of some sort, moving from place to place, from position to position, from one grade to the next, growing and changing and on the verge of something, whether we know it or not, whether we want it or not. But in this moment, together, we are in a collective threshold moment. We are in the in-between, the liminal space. In these past few months, we have had a collective experience across this globe that perhaps has not happened just like this before. We're living in a way that encourages us and enforces distance between us and the people we love most in this world. We're covering our faces, our mouths, our voices. We're staying home. We're avoiding contact. We're wiping away and cleaning our shared spaces. And some would say too soon, and others would say not soon enough. We are also somehow in the process of opening back up, of opening our restaurants and our stores, and in some ways ourselves to the possibility that it can be okay to be together. We aren't sure what will come of this. This is a threshold moment. This is living in the in-between. We're no longer who and what we were before, but we are not quite sure who and what we're going to be. And amidst all of this, we're seeing people taking to the streets to protest, to proclaim that enough is enough, that the time for racial justice and the dismantling of systems of oppression is now. It is long overdue. We're seeing that in the time of a pandemic, the world continues to spin, and injustice and oppression continue to rear their ugly heads. The world doesn't stop just because of coronavirus. If it seems like nothing is normal, that's because it isn't. If it seems like many of the things you thought you knew about yourself and the world are harmful and dangerous lies, it's because they are. If it seems like the system is broken, it's not. It was built this way. If it seems like the world is shifting beneath you, that's because it is. If it seems like we are wandering and lost somewhere between what was and what will be, it's because we are. We are in the in-between. We are finding our way. We're learning which parts of what we've known can remain and which we need to destroy and rebuild with a collective voice and a shared vision. But one thing is sure, we cannot go back to the way things have been, and we shouldn't. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe that making meaning in our lives, finding meaning, is a lifelong process. We affirm that our lived experiences of the divine mystery and universe shape how we understand the world and our place in it. One of our 6 sources of Unitarian Universalism is the direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder affirmed in all cultures, which moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces which create and uphold life. In utilizing this source and practicing it with intention, we seek to understand that time and circumstance and knowledge and experience help us to shape our beliefs and ourselves. In some way, this means that we are almost always living in a threshold moment. We're always in the in-between. It means that we need to be tuning in, paying attention, opening ourselves to possibility. It also means that we practice remembering and reaffirming our ability to live in and through difficult times. But in doing so, our goal is not solely to survive, but to learn and to grow. Our hope is not simply to make it through unscathed, but to reflect deeply on the ways we are impacted and perhaps changed by all that we are experiencing. In order to learn, we must be intentional about how we live in these difficult times. And one of the best tools we can use when living in the unknown and the in-between is to reaffirm our knowing of what has helped us in the past. Right now, we are experiencing communal trauma. We're experiencing communal grief. And in those experiences, we're reminded of all of our trauma and all of our grief in our lives. This can be very scary and challenging. This is a new reality for us, to be reminded of trauma in our lives and to be challenged to live through even more of it, while some of the folks who are our support systems are doing the same. So we're wise to utilize the skills and the tools that we have acquired in our years of living that have helped us. For some of us, this means awareness of our spiritual practices, those that have given us strength and sustenance during difficult times, and then practicing them now in the present. It's been said that you should sit in meditation for 1 hour a day, unless you're busy. Then you should sit for 2. You've probably heard that before. For others of us, this means practicing humility and taking the stance of curiosity, choosing to live into this moment, to lean into it, that sense of unknowing, with awareness that there is always more to learn. This is the practice of silence and deep listening and admitting when we don't quite know how to proceed. For others of us, this means practicing good self-care, drinking enough water, taking time for rest, listening to the ways our body responds to stress. This sometimes means taking a break from social media or spending time outdoors, calling a friend. For many of us, in challenging times, in these threshold moments, in the in-between, thriving means some combination of these things. For some of us, it means maintaining a routine, remembering to shower, making a home-cooked meal, moving away from the computer screen, taking a walk. It may mean that some days we do all of these things and other days we do none of them. It means taking a deep breath, slowing down, recentering our energy. Because unlike an actual threshold leading from room to room, this is not a one-step process. This threshold moment in which we find ourselves is more like a long, winding hallway leading, well, we aren't quite sure. How terrifying, how exciting, how exhausting if we aren't careful. And we need you. I need you. The congregation needs you. This community needs you. The world needs you. And in that needing, there is a call to practice these things that will help to sustain you for the long haul. We need you, not to do or to accomplish, but to be. We need you not to succeed, but to be. Being is the goal, and learning how to be with one another again is the task we have been given. Being present in the moment is one of the ways we do this. Being present with ourselves and our pain and our fear, our trauma, our grief, and with one another in those things. Being willing to unlearn some of the things we thought we knew. Being able to learn new ways of understanding and living. It has been said that we are living in unprecedented times, and in many ways that's true. But our human history is packed full of stories about illness and loss, injustice, fear, worry, pain. Perhaps this is why we keep telling old stories, to remind ourselves that we, humanity that is, that we have lived through hard things. And we can do it again. Perhaps this is why we're drawn to institutions that have made it through the revolutions. They've found their roots in riots and uprisings, to remind ourselves that change does not come without a cost, without destruction, without the breaking down of walls and barriers to make space for something new. Together, we can do hard things. Humanity has always found a way to do hard things. We have been imperfect and we have failed, but we have also lived into greatness and reform and progress. And we can do it again. As we continue to live in this threshold moment, let us remind ourselves to look, listen, feel, breathe. As we move through this liminal space, let us find comfort and healing in the ways we care well for ourselves and each other. As we live in a world where the ground is shifting beneath us, let us take hold of the communities and the values that provide stability and be willing to reach out for new ways of being. In this new and strange time, let us be willing to amplify voices that have been silenced for too long and to listen deeply to what they have to say, even when it's hard to hear. We are living in a threshold moment, a liminal space in the in-between. Let us not stop or turn back, but journey forward together, reminding ourselves that we can do hard things and the world needs all of us. So may it be. Amen, and blessed be.
Guide my feet while I run this race. Guide my feet while I run this race. Guide my feet while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race someday. Hold my hand while I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by me while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. Search my heart while I run this race. Search my heart while I run this race. Search my heart while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain.
As we continue on into yet another week that will challenge our hearts, our minds, our sense of being, I wish for you moments of wonder, of joy, of noticing the beauty of this big world in which we live. May we remember that the times and places where we find freedom are not a license, but a promise to those who are not yet free, a promise to strive toward liberation. For as it has been said, your liberation is tied with mine and mine with yours. Let us continue being open, loving, kind, curious, and courageous. The world needs you in this beautiful journey. We extinguish this chalice, but not the hope, love, and courage that it represents. We carry our love and ourselves out into this beautiful and broken world. Our service has ended, but our true service now begins. Go in peace.